Welcome back to BLOCKTV. It's time now for Cryptonomics, the segment where we see where the rubber meets the road and look at the intersection of crypto and mainstream markets. Today, that intersection is more relevant than ever as turbulent global markets shake amid an ongoing trade war between the US and China and ongoing protests in Hong Kong, which threaten to disrupt trade. All of which could see Bitcoin prove itself as the safe haven asset as it has long claimed to be. And to speak with us from an inside perspective, we're now joined from Beijing by Flex Yang, CEO at Hong Kong-based Babel Finance. Flex, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. And lots of things happen these days. China-US trade wars and the Hong Kong protests. War results lots of kind of volatility in the financial market as well.
Certainly a large degree of volatility going on, but I just want to start by asking you, so we've just seen in the latest news, the US and Trump administration has agreed to delay some of the tariffs that they're putting on Chinese goods. And as a result, or perhaps in coincidence, at the same time, we've seen a drop in the price of Bitcoin at the time of filming, over 7% in the last 24 hours. Now, given the ongoing trade war and the sort of moves that are made in either direction, do you think that there is any relationship between these two facts, or are crypto markets moving as they will, regardless of what's happening in the trade war?
I think before May, the thing is, the Bitcoin market or crypto market is like irrelevant to the traditional financial market. But after May, we found out that Bitcoin has been much more correlated to gold price, since we have been seeing the rising evidence that Bitcoin has been regarded as a safe haven assets. And when we look at the market as a whole, we see that yesterday as the gold price has dropped, the Bitcoin price followed. So it's kind of correlated as well. So Bitcoin as a safe haven assets, it's like dropping with gold. When people see the tariffs has been delayed, then people will fear that makes the market feels less worried about the China and the US trade war go further worse and without control. So maybe market fears the market is kind of becoming correlated to like a risky market, as risk on market, not just a risk off market. So when tariffs come, when US-China's trade war, then it's risk off again. So Bitcoin price is quite like a gold price now. When risk on market, then price of Bitcoin will drop, and when the market is kind of risk off, Bitcoin price will rise, just like gold.
It does certainly seem like that correlation is becoming more evident, at least in the short term. But I suppose I've got to ask as well, with some of the big crypto-related news coming out of China, that of the Chinese government reporting that they will be building their own digital currency. In fact, that it's ready to go, as they've stated, coming from statements from officials from the People's Bank of China. Do you think that this could be part of the start of a protracted currency war between East and West, with different sides looking to take advantage of new technologies and perhaps crypto and other digital asset technologies in order to get the upper hand?
I think this should not be a surprise, since Bitcoin from its conception to becoming a global currency. So in the internet era, digital currency or cryptocurrency, no matter what it is, it will be not limited by any geographical or sovereign power. We will see the competition of all kinds of digital currencies or cryptocurrencies globally, no matter Facebook's Libra or PBOC's digital currency. And for the PBOC's digital currency, we see we find out that PBOC's people are saying that the technical roadmap has not been set yet. So we don't know whether it will be just digital currency, or it will be like deploying some sorts of distributed ledger technology. We don't know yet. So we cannot say it's a cryptocurrency. We can just say it's a digital currency. But we should be cautious to say that this is a kind of a currency war between East and West, since I don't think there's a clear ideology behind each digital currencies. It's a new global market of currencies. It's a competition, but it's not between East and West.
Interesting, you said in comments that we aired on our program the other day that perhaps Libra is more relevant to the actions by the PBOC than perhaps the trade war. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Actually, all sorts of research paper, all sorts of comments from PBOC came out after 18th June. That's white paper of Libra coming out. It's not after the trade war, so I think it's more related to the Libra rather than the trade war. So it's more like China's regulators' actions to tackle the challenges from Facebook's Libra to the financial stability as they see.
Certainly, it does seem to be that sort of correlated tie. And I suppose I want to ask as well then, so in the US, people and institutions are turning to Bitcoin as a potential safe haven asset. Now, we touched on this already, but as a safe haven means to store their money in a time of increased instability. But given we've got you there with the inside look, and given Babel Finance works so strongly with some of the big players in Asia, I want to ask, are you seeing that same sort of level of interest, particularly from institutional investment in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in Asia? Is that being mirrored and paralleled there?
Yes, it's very clear that investors in Asia is increasing their allocation of their, whole assets of their assets towards Bitcoin. We can clearly see this trend from our business. Before April, our major clients are actually miners in China. They borrow money to pay the electricity fees, they buy machines. But after April, when they are like a signs of worsened U.S. trade war situation, people coming for us to see if they can buy Bitcoin. And when people bought Bitcoin back to April, they came to us for lending money, for borrowing money. So I think the change in the market's major player from miners to investors in China, it's a really good sign to see that Asian investors pay attention to Bitcoin as a kind of safe haven assets. And of course, Bitcoin's price goes up after April. We see many other kinds of customers from US as well. They came up to us for the Virgin coin because we have very direct connections to miners, and the people wants to buy Virgin coins simply because maybe they could avoid sorts of future compliance challenges. So yeah, US people come to us for Virgin coin. The Chinese people came to us simply they want to buy some Bitcoins and they don't know how to buy it, and we have sorts of channels for them.
Well, so I want to talk about that unique position you guys find yourselves in, because you work with crypto facilities and miners, particularly as you say in mainland China, but your offices are based in Hong Kong. Now, obviously at the moment, Hong Kong is in global news, making headlines with the major protests that are going on there at the moment. Very dramatic scenes we've seen in the last few days with protesters occupying the airports and taking control of key infrastructure. Are you concerned at all about the impacts of these ongoing protests and how they might impact trade, markets, whether there might be a crackdown by the Chinese government? What would you say are your thoughts and concerns regarding this issue?
I think before the temporary shutdown of Hong Kong International Airport yesterday and the day before yesterday, there's no feeling at all. I mean, for us to feel that there's progress in the protest. We don't see very violent scenes before, but this week things has been changed a lot. Personally, I hope that this situation could be resolved as soon as possible, so that the government and the business both get back to work as usual. I don't know how to comment on this actually, because you know I'm a Hong Kong citizen. But I don't really know how to comment on the violence happened here. I don't like violence at all.
Certainly, I don't think anyone likes seeing these scenes of violence play out, but I suppose perhaps I'll ask then, moving away from sort of the personal view, but from a business perspective, do you think that there's any risk? Obviously, Hong Kong is such an important financial center for Asia and for the world. Do you think there's any risk of disruption there and disruption for your business from that perspective?
Not yet. There's no effect at all currently. We see sorts of capital flow out from Hong Kong, but that's just certain people's asset allocation. But people still see Hong Kong as a financial center in Asia, and the violence has not actually affected the financial business in Hong Kong.
And if things were to get any worse and to escalate, would you consider taking some of your business outside of Hong Kong?
Since crypto is kind of online globally on-chain, so it's not affected our business at all.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, Flex Yang, CEO at Hong Kong-based Babel Finance, I want to thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to us about these important issues, from the trade war to the protests in Hong Kong. So much happening in your region of the world, and we'll be sure to make sure that we touch in again with you soon to hear of any updates and things that are happening. Flex, thanks again for being with us. And of course, stay with us at blocktv.com for all the latest in news and information. I'm Asher Westrop Evans. Thanks for watching.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.